Good evening. This is Lionel Smith from Sense Memory. Tonight we're having a drink I first tried in Venice, and it is called a Negroni. It is 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth, 1.5 ounces of gin, and 1.5 ounces of Campari. And you serve it over ice with a orange garnish. Now, as I said, I first had this in Venice, but tonight we are going to a city much further south, a city that is famed for the birth of the Renaissance, for great art, and for wonderful shoes. We'll be exploring a fragrance from the beautiful city of Florence. Cheers! Delicioso. Firenze, la prima città del Rinascimento. Florence, the first city of the Renaissance, a city so fabled in its history of art, religion, money, and power, and beauty. Here you smell leather in the streets from all the shops and the street vendors selling Florentine leather goods. Everywhere you walk in this magnificent city, you are bombarded by the scent. It is wonderful. Towering above it all, the famed leather workers of the city, none is more renowned than Ferragamo, the great Italian shoemaker. To visit Florence and not visit Ferragamo is a sin. Here you see the shoe elevated to an art form. Casual elegance with sophisticated flair, as embodied within the spirit of the Florentines. That is what Salvatore Ferragamo has come up with in this sumptuous fragrance. Salvatore Ferragamo per Homme. Salvatore Ferragamo per Homme was created in 1999, so it's almost 20 years old. It is a woody floral musk. The nose is Jean-Pierre Mary, who's most famous for creating Jaipur Boucheron for women. The main accords are woody, green fresh, aromatic, and warm spicy, and a little milky. The top notes are cyclamen, caraway, African geranium, fig leaf, grapefruit, neroli, and Brazilian rosewood. The mid notes are carnation, orris root, jasmine, rose, and cardamom. The bottom notes are leather, sandalwood, musk, oak moss, and vetiver, and cedar. So it is really a very, very interesting mix of notes. And for a fragrance that is this old and this inexpensive, it is really quite beautiful. These wonderful notes in this fragrance are like postcards from Florence. They carry me back in the opening to a spring day at the gardens of the Pitti Palace. In this wonderful garden, in the mid notes, we have this great mixture of the earthy orris root and the sharp kind of tangy carnation, and then there's a rose and a jasmine, and they are quite beautiful. But what really is amazing about this fragrance comes up from the bottom, and that is this wonderful leather that is such a perfect touch for the House of Ferragamo to put in there, because they're so known for their great leather shoes and their wonderful handbags, but mostly for their shoes. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. Now, as we move through the fragrance in the dry down, it becomes very sophisticated and quite, for a fragrance that's this old, it's quite current in my opinion, and quite beautiful. I sprayed some on earlier, and as for a masculine, it's clean, but it has something running through it. I guess it's that wonderful leather that gives it an edge, a really wonderful edge. And for approximately $24, you can't go wrong. Look at this incredible bottle. It is interesting how it's formed. It curves on the sides here beautifully. It's quite a beautiful piece to have on your dresser. And of course, on the side here it says Ferragamo etched into the glass. It's really a beautiful bottle. I really love it. Some might find it a little generic, but I wouldn't let that get in the way of exploring what it does in the dry down. It really stands out there for me. The sillage is moderate to almost large. It depends on how much you spray. So I always go very light with it because I don't like to blast my olfactory victims around me. It lasts about 6 to 8 hours, which is pretty good, and it's good for all occasions, I would say. Definitely something that is elegant in the evening, but gentle enough to carry through the day at work. It really is an all-around good scent for almost any occasion. A little bit about the House of Ferragamo. It is, of course, known for its shoes, and a lot of famous people get their shoes there and have been getting their shoes there for years and years and years, since the 30s. And you can go, if you're visiting Florence, and go to Ferragamo. It's right on the river, on the Arno River, in a beautiful big palazzo. And you can go in and see the museum, which is quite spectacular. And there they have wooden forms of feet from people, famous people in entertainment and all walks of life. But on the bottoms there are written the names of people like Katharine Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn and Sophia Loren. You name it, they've all got their shoes there. So it's very interesting to see that, and they have a great display of some of their most interesting and sometimes outrageous designs. So it is a house with quite a history, still going strong today, both in shoes and in fashion, and definitely has an interesting and large lineup of fragrances to offer. But if you're interested in a sophisticated, elegant touch of Florence, a feeling of Italy, of La Dolce Vita, definitely I would give this one a try. So there's my take on Salvatore Ferragamo pour Homme. And this is Lionel Smith from Sense Memory saying, wear what you love and not what they say you should like.